On this edition of Early Look, I'm going to be taking a look at the UFC 304 lightweight fight on the main card between Paddy Pimblett and Bobby Green. And if you've never watched the show before, I'm going to go through a bunch of different stats, a bunch of different intangibles. Then I'm going to give you my prediction at the end of this video. Some of this stuff may have relevance and may not. I would love to hear your prediction in the comments as soon as you're done watching this. Make sure you watch till the end. We're going to go through, like I said, a bunch of different stuff. Let's do a quick tail of the tape between these two. King Bobby Green, you can see there 32-15-1 record. Paddy Pimblett 21-3. 37 years old for Green, 29 for Pimblett. 5'10" to 5'10", so they're the same height. And Pimblett can have a 2-inch reach advantage in this fight. Obviously, Pimblett a lot younger as well. But let's start first with King Bobby Green, the veteran, taking on Paddy Pimblett in this spot. So I should mention this is going to be taking place at Co-op Live in Manchester, England. So Green going into enemy territory. This is a lightweight fight that is 3 rounds. And if we're going to start first with Green, got to mention the fact that he's got 11 knockouts, 9 submissions, and 12 decisions. Like I mentioned, 5'10" with a 71-inch reach. He has no major advantages in this fight. At the time of recording this, which is June 10th, Green is currently ranked number 15 in the lightweight division. He's a BJJ purple belt. He trains at a Pinnacle MMA. He's got submission of the night 1 time, performance of the night 3 times. He's got fight of the night 4 times in his career. Never had an amateur debut. Green went straight to the pros. Check this out. In 2008, January 2008. So he's been in there for quite some time. Did not make his UFC debut until February of 2013, which was the fight against Jacob Volkman. If you remember, he came over from Strikeforce. He was part of that purchase when the UFC did that. He's got a lot of notable wins in his career. Let's go through some of them. First and foremost, Josh Thompson. For newer fans, you know Josh Thompson is the host of the weigh-ins. For older fans, you know Josh Thompson was one of the best lightweight fighters in the world. So at the time, that was a really big win for Bobby. Also got a win over Ali Aquinta. That was a big win back in 2021. Knocked Aquinta out. Also has wins over Tony Ferguson, Grant Dawson, and most recently Jim Miller. He's had a lot of notable losses as well. Look at some of the names he's fought. It's pretty impressive here. Edson Barbosa, Dustin Poirier, lost to Thiago Moises, although that was a fight that probably should have gone the other way. We'll talk about that in a sec. Rafael Fiziev, obviously lost to Islam Makhachev, got knocked out by Drew Dober, and then got knocked out by Jalen Turner as well. Green has fought in a number of different weight classes, and that's something that I think is interesting in this fight, in the sense that he has fought, I did the math on this, might be a little bit off, but he's fought 39 times at lightweight. He's had 3 catchweight fights, and he's fought 2 times at welterweight. So he's sort of on the bigger side there, and I'll explain why that is important in a second here. Green has had a number of layoffs in his career, going from Edson Barbosa. Where's that fight? Barbosa. Going from Barbosa to Dustin Poirier, there was a 560-day layoff. Going from Poirier to Rashid Magomedov, there was a 336-day layoff. And then since then, he's been pretty active. Those are just some earlier layoffs that he's had that are a little bit bigger. Thought I'd mention that. He's had a number of injuries throughout his career. We're not going to go through all those because there's obviously a lot there. Let's talk about some of the close fights that he's had just quickly. The Josh Thompson fight, which he won by split decision. 6 media members scored the fight for Green, 4 scored it a draw, and 5 scored it for Josh Thompson. So again, very close. There was the draw he had with Lando Fanata, which was way back in 2017. That one, actually, more media members scored that fight for Venata. 4 scoring it for Venata, 7 scoring it a draw, 2 scoring it for Green. There was the Jakar close fight, which was very close, no pun intended. 12 media members scored the fight for Green, just 3 for close. So he should have got a win there, by all accounts. There was the Trinaldo fight as well, which he lost. 5 media members scored the fight for Trinaldo, 10 for Green. And then there's the Thiago Moises fight, which was this one here in 2020. 4 media members scoring the fight for Moises, 11 scoring it for Green. The reason I bring all this up is because you look at Bobby Green's record and people look at a lot of the losses. Some of these decisions should have gone his way. So he's got 15 losses. Realistically, that could be closer to like 13, 12 losses instead of 15. Just pointing that out there. Let's look at some stats for Bobby Green. Very impressive. Now, keep in mind, he's had a lot of UFC fights, so that's why these stats are a little bit higher, because his significant strikes landed per minute is 6.45. That's very high, but that's also because he's had more UFC fights. His striking accuracy is at 52%. His striking defense is at 62%. His takedown accuracy is at 38%, and his takedown defense is at 74%. He gets 1.19 takedowns per fight, although I don't know if we'll see too many takedowns in this one, with Pimblett sort of having the edge on the ground. But that's everything you need to know about Bobby Green, a true veteran in every sense of the word. He's fought the who's who. He's been there for a while, and at 37, he's still getting wins in the UFC, as witnessed by the last fight against Jim Miller. Let's talk about Paddy Pimblett, though. Paddy the Batty. 21-3 record. Like I mentioned, 29 years old. He is 5'10" with a 73-inch reach. So in this fight, he'll be 8 years younger and has a 2-inch reach advantage. He's a BJJ black belt. He's got performance of the night 3 times against Luigi Vendramini, Rodrigo Vargas, and Jordan Levitt. He's also the former Cage Warriors featherweight champion, not lightweight, featherweight. Much like Bobby Green, Paddy Pimblett did not have an amateur career, went straight to the pros in October of 2012. By that time, Bobby Green already had 23 fights, just to give you an idea of the experience gap here. Made his UFC debut in September of 2021. Where was this? There you go, against Luigi Vendramini. By that time, Bobby Green had 16 UFC fights. So again, want to emphasize the experience. Paddy, as you can see here, is 5-0. He's got 3 stoppage wins. He's only got 1 notable win in the UFC, and that's Tony Ferguson. Jared Gordon, I suppose, is notable in that people know him, but Gordon not a ranked fighter or anything like that. Pimblett's had a few layoffs in his short UFC career. Going from Gordon to Ferguson, there was a 371-day layoff, and then going from Ferguson to this fight, there'll be a 224-day layoff. So that's something we got to note. He's had 2 close fights. Well, 1 close fight, I should say. The Jared Gordon fight, which if you go look on MMAdecisions.com and see how the media scored this one, looking back on it, that was... Actually, sorry. There's one I wanted to mention before. This was the fight against Julian Erosa and Cage Warriors, which I think is worth bringing up. You know, Julian's in the UFC now. If you look at the media scorecards for that fight, that was back at Cage Warriors Unplugged 1 back in 2016. 3 media members scored the fight for Erosa. Not a single media member scored the fight for Pimblett. So that could have been one that could have gone the other way. And then, of course, the Jared Gordon fight, which Pimblett's most known for. Big underdog in that fight. 23 media members scoring the fight for Jared Gordon. Just 1 scoring it for Paddy Pimblett. So, again, Pimblett, you know, winning some of these fights, but this one in particular, one that people think he didn't fight or didn't win. And then we got to point out with Paddy, I was talking about Bobby Green fighting in different weight classes. Paddy Pimblett has fought 5 times at bantamweight, 2 catchweight fights, 7 featherweight fights, and 9 lightweight fights. It'll be 10 with Green. So he's only fought a few more fights at lightweight. Green's fought as heavy as featherweight, or welterweight. So it'll be interesting to see, size and strength in this fight between the two. Although Pimblett, like I said, a lot younger. If you look at Pimblett's stats here, very impressive. Strikes landed per minute, 5.13, so a little bit lower than Green. 52% striking accuracy. He's got 41% strike defense. He's got 56% takedown defense, and his takedown accuracy is only at 25%, so we'll see if he can even get a takedown on Bobby Green. His, and I wanted to point out the striking defense is at 41%, so he does get hit a lot. That is one thing I think could be key in this fight. His sub average is 1.6. His takedown average is 0.98. Let's go have a look at the odds on this fight. Again, very interesting. So right now you have Bobby Green as a slight favorite here. Less than 2-1, about -175, -180. Some books having a 2-1 favorite. And looking on Tapology as far as how people are voting, again, you don't have to put any money down to give your picks on this fight. But if you look on the Tapology votes, 59% picking Green, 41% picking Pimblett. Okay, who am I going with in this fight? The second it was announced, I had a strong feeling about this. Looking at the stats now and kind of going through this, I think my pick is still the same here. I'm going to go with Bobby Green by knockout. Okay, so I'm actually going to go Bobby Green by 2nd round knockout to take out Paddy Pimblett. Now, here's the thing. One thing you look at with Paddy Pimblett's career in the UFC so far anyways, not a lot of power punchers, right? And despite the fact that Green is 37 years old, and if you look at some of the guys that he's fought, he hasn't knocked out everyone. But, I mean, did knock out Grant Dawson. Still Grant Dawson's only loss in the UFC. It's stoppage loss, I should say. And he knocked out Ally Quinta, who's a bit on the older side. Maybe we'll give that one a pass. But the point is, he does have knockout power. And, again, I know the Dawson knockout was a jab. Most guys probably are able to take that jab. But I think it's something interesting to look at the power aspect of Bobby Green here as well. So I would argue this is the first power puncher that Paddy Pimblett's fought in his career. Green clearly can put you out with a shot. We've seen that before. The other thing is 34% of Green's wins come by knockout. That's only second to decision. I could see decision here as well. In fact, it wouldn't surprise me either if Green ended up winning a decision, but I think either way he's going to win this fight. I don't think this is a very good matchup for Paddy Pimblett. The guys that he's fought, like I said, Jared Gordon, I thought nearly beat him. You had Tony Ferguson, which was just kind of a gimme fight at this point. Tony's not the same fighter he used to be. Jordan Levitt's not a striker. Even a guy like Luigi Vendramini, who's not even in the UFC anymore, he actually hit Paddy pretty good in their first fight. And, it wasn't a flawless victory there for Paddy Pimblett. He did get hit early in that one. So if he tries that against Bobby Green, I don't think it's going to work out too well. The other thing is Pimblett has a layoff coming into this fight. This is in the UK. All the pressure is going to be on him. He's the one with the undefeated record. Bobby Green gets this opportunity at 37 years of age, and he's fought everyone. He's not, Green's ambitions are not fighting for a title at this point. It's about, continuing to fight and build up on that resume. But I don't think anyone's expecting Bobby Green to be the title contender anytime soon. There is that expectation with Paddy Pimblett. It's in the UK. There's a lot of pressure on him. He's coming off a layoff. A lot of people feel like he didn't beat Jared Gordon. A lot of people feel like he kind of got a gimme fight against Tony Ferguson in a fight that he didn't even look that good in. Again, Green's got a lot of advantages here. He's kind of got house money here, right? Like, this is a good opportunity for him. And again, like, Green will want to finish this fight. If I'm sure he's watched the Jared Gordon fight. I'm sure he's also looked at the fact that, this is in the UK. So, maybe there's going to be some hometown bias as well on the judges. Could happen as far as the crowd or anything. It doesn't matter. Green will probably want to put this one away. So that's why I kind of lean more knockout as well. And the biggest thing here, and this is something I talk about in a lot of my previews, is just the level of opposition. I mean, you look at Bobby Green, who he's fought in the last little bit here. Jim Miller, Jalen Turner, Grant Dawson, all ranked guys. Miller isn't ranked, but I believe was ranked at one point. He also fought Ferguson, but finished him. I thought he looked more impressive against Ferguson than Pimblett did. And then, yeah, he's got a couple losses in here, but look who he's losing to. Like, Dober's still got knockout power. Islam, considered the pound for pound best. Fiziev, top ranked lightweight in the division. Thiago Moises, I thought he beat. He knocks out Iaquinta. So kind of what I'm getting at here, like, Green has fought far better opposition, and I think this is the right test for Paddy Pimblett. But ultimately, I think that Bobby Green is just, again, I don't see Pimblett knocking him out like he did with Luigi Vendermini. I think on the ground, Pimblett's got a good advantage there. But again, Bobby Green's seen it all and dealt with it all. He's fought better BJJ guys than Paddy Pimblett. So again, kind of what I'm getting at is I do not think that Paddy Pimblett is bringing anything to the table that Bobby Green hasn't seen. Now, the only concern here as well, could there be a bit of a decline with Green? You maybe thought that in the Jalen Turner fight, but Jalen's a pretty tall, lanky guy for the division. I just think Green couldn't get on the inside. And the other thing is, like, Green, I thought looked good in his last fight against Jim Miller. Like, he beat down Jim Miller, and I know it's Jim Miller, and Miller's again riding off into the sunset and all that, but still, that was a good win. Grant Dawson was a good win. Like, Bobby Green still got it at 37, and I'm not going to look past that. And I just think, again, he's got good striking. He's a guy that's tough to take out. He'll talk some smack. The pressure's on Paddy. That's enough for me to pick Bobby Green in the spot. So my official pick for this one is going to be Bobby Green by second round knockout. Would also not be shocked to see Bobby Green winning a decision. I could see Paddy possibly winning this if Green's not able to knock him out and it goes the distance and maybe the judges favor him. But I think Bobby has a good opportunity here, and I think this is a very dangerous fight for Paddy Pimblett. So I want to know what you guys think in the comment section below. Who are you picking in this fight, and what is your prediction? I don't just want to hear a pick. I would like to hear why you're picking and giving your prediction the way you are. I would love to hear that. Also, make sure you follow me on Twitter, TikTok, Instagram, at Lynch on Sports, and hit the like button if you like this video. My name is James Lynch. I always do previews for upcoming fights. So if there's any other fights you want me to preview, just let me know in the comments. That's all I got for today. Hope you guys enjoyed this breakdown on early look. I will be previewing a bunch of fights coming up here in the next couple weeks. Thanks so much for watching, and I'll talk to you next time.